Podcast City Network. The Everett Lee Show.
All right. Welcome to the Everett Lee Show podcast. I'm the Everett Lee. I want to give a shout out to everyone that follows me on social media and, of course, Podcast City Network, the official host of the Everett Lee Show. Tonight, this podcast is going to get savage. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We have a savage podcast on tonight because I have with me, standing by right now, looking at me on the video monitor. He is independent pro wrestler, and he is one half of the Titan Championship Wrestling TCW Tag Team Champions, one half of the members of the front line with his tag team partner, Ransom. I want to welcome to the Everett Lee Show none other than PJ Savage. How you doing, PJ?
How you doing, man? It's good to be on, man. Thank you for having me on the platform, man. Enjoy what you've been doing, especially with you and David, man. So it's an honor to be on, man. The Everett Lee Show just got savage, baby.
Hell yeah, it did. And this is the first live podcast on Podbeam Live, on the Podbeam.
That's awesome.
It is. It is. Podbeam's a great platform. You can check out a lot of programs, a lot of podcasts on Podbeam. You can check out the live stream section there's a lot of podcasts that's live right now, including this one right here. And it's great, man. You just download the app on your phone there. You can create a username and interact, or on PC, you can check out the link on social media that's been shared, and you can listen that way too. But man, I wrote a list right here for 2022 of guests. I have 6 guests I want to get on. And guess what? You're on that list for 2022.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm honored, man. You're giving me the first live. You're giving me the list moniker. Man, I am honored to be here right now.
Yeah. If I'm going to do this live on Podbeam, man, I better go. I wanted to go savage. So you're the first guy that came to mind right there. It's just, I need to hit him up and see if he could do it, because I was looking at some matches, which I'll get into you with here during the program. You're all over the place on podcasts, man. You have another one that's scheduled tomorrow night on this one. And I've been looking on YouTube, checking out other podcasts that you've been on. You're out there. You are out there. And what got my attention with you was when I had the Mastodon on. When I had him on a few months ago, I was watching matches for Sanctuary. Here comes PJ Savage. I was like, who's this guy? I'm like, wow, just powerhouse, man. Just a powerhouse. And I asked David, I said, David, my good friend from Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast, shout out to David C. Russell. I said,
big shout out.
Who's PJ Savage? He's like, check this out. So he sent me the link to the interview that he did with you last year, almost about a year ago. And
definitely.
I'm like, I got to get this guy on, man. I have to get this guy. David's like, you need to get him on. I did some brainstorming, and here we are.
Here we go, baby. Yeah, man. I'm all over the place, man. I like to promote what I'm doing. I like to just... And I got the gift of gab, man. I could talk. I could talk for hours, man. So, and I enjoy doing this, like connecting with everybody that does these podcasts. What you guys do is instrumental to the business, especially for the independent guys. It's almost like suiting up, putting up our boots, and walking through a curtain when we do a podcast. You know, whether it's a work, whether it's a shoot, whatever the case may be. It's pretty dope what you guys do, man. You guys give us another platform to elevate.
It is. That's what we do, man. We give you a platform to get yourself over and do what you needed to do. And just, it's one of those great things with the technology and what's out there, because a lot of people listen to podcasts, listen to them live, recorded, wherever. And that's one of the beauties of this. You know, it is. They communicate, and they play a big part in the wrestling community.
Yep, definitely, man. Completely agree.
They do. Your journey going into becoming a wrestler, that is quite a journey, is it not?
Yeah. For like every wrestler, it is. There's a moment in time where it clicks, and there's a moment in time where you dream about it, and then there's that last moment in time where you're like, I'm going for it. and then everything gets real from that point on, you know? So my journey is it's a long one. You want me to go into it?
Yeah, we'll jump in talking about. I'll ask you different things about your journey. Of course, I'll ask questions that's probably been asked before, but it's a podcast, man. You know,
bring them on, man. Bring them on. There's plenty of people that haven't heard me before, so anybody that's just listening in and finding about PJ Savage for the first time, man, you're in for a treat.
Yep, you definitely are. How did that journey start out for you? At what age did you first get into wrestling? What was your first exposure to wrestling?
Oh man, so I wanted to get into it when I was about 17, 18. And I was in my last year of high school. I was a senior. I was looking around at schools, and a bunch of schools popped up, and Johnny Rod's was one of the schools that popped up. There was House of Glory. There was another school named, forgot what it was, named Lugos or something. And I was just trying to make a decision, and I ended up having a kid. So I had to like grow up really fast. And I actually dropped out of high school, got a job full time to raise my daughter, Savannah. And after that, I had another kid named Abel. So that kind of set me back again, where it was like, you know, when you have a kid and you're as young as I was, you kind of like, everything just hits you in the face. You get punched in the mouth every single day. Everything knocks you down, and you can't really chase your own dreams. So when I was about 23, 24, I was like, all right, I gotta go. My son's 1 year old. I have to do this. It was right around the time when Jay Lethal and Jay Briscoe were having this big war at ROH for the ROH heavyweight title. And man, I was into it. And it was one of those moments in time where it was like, I can do this. Like, they sucked me in. They had me. AEW wasn't around at the time. And it was interesting to see a smaller company like ROH, not on the WWE scale, draw the way they did and grab the attention the way they did. So it was like, you know what? I think I can do this. I want to do what they do. I want to make people feel the way Jay Lethal and Jay Briscoe made me feel.
Right.
So I started looking up schools, and I found Johnny Rod's, and that's when I got in touch with him. And man, the rest was history from there, man.
Yeah, Johnny Rodz, man, he's a WWE legend, and the training you went with him. How did that mentally? How was that training there, going through that with him?
Yeah, of course. I mean, being someone that never was exposed to the business fully, I didn't know what to expect going in, and then hearing I'm going to be training with a WWE Hall of Famer, a legend in his own right, and someone who's trained guys like the Dudleys and Taz and Tommy Dreamer, all the ECW originals. It was like, oh, am I going to be in for hell, or am I going to be in for a sweet ride? You just don't know what you're going to be in for. And I mean, you saw Tough Enough. Everybody saw like little things when they pulled back the curtain a little bit, and I kind of thought it was going to be like that, and it just wasn't. It was nothing like that, man. I had an amazing experience with Johnny. My first day, Matt Stryker was the trainer there that day. Matt Stryker's another man who trained under Johnny Rodz. And man, I was lucky enough to walk in through those doors on my first day and see Matt Stryker there. Like, he got me to get all my basics down the first day. And of course, I was a fan of it. I was passionate about it. So I was sucked into it. I wanted to learn everything. I was already studying the business, even though I wasn't into it. And with Stryker there, he helped me a lot. And then I had fucking Devon help me out. There were so many names that came through and really helped me out. One of them being Mark Viola, Cowboy Billy Walker, all those people that Johnny trained amongst learning from Johnny. One of the key things about Johnny, because he's at an older age, you can't really get in the ring and stretch you out. He will, though. He will. I promise you he will. But one of the things about Johnny, he trains your mental. He teaches you how to, like, we call it in the business backstage politicking. He teaches you the ways of that. He teaches you how to maneuver yourself backstage, how to swim with sharks. And one of the main things he really teaches you is how to be a man. Because I was a father of two at the time. I didn't know what I was doing. And he kind of guided me through those waters, man. So Johnny Rodz he's the next level of training. And of course, the training was brutal. You have bruises on your back from running the ropes. It takes about a month and a half of your body to get used to the bumps, but every wrestler knows what that is, man. We love it. So even if it hurts, it's like a badge of honor.
Right. Yeah, it like going through the training and hitting the ropes, taking the bumps. That's the one thing, because a lot of people, like athletes, like who's played like football players. I'm sure you've seen it. Someone who played high school football or college, or they did some college football. They come in, oh, I could do this. And as soon as they take that first bump, what happens, man?
Nope. I've seen some really big guys coming through those doors. I'm talking about 6'6", 6'7", and they are the worst guys to like train because they don't want to fall. They're so high up there, they don't want to bump. Their body's not trained to fall like that, so they're like hella scared. It's a whole another area for them. So like it's not that easy for a lot of guys to get into the business.
Right. It's not, because it's not for everyone. You have to have that mentality to actually get in there and actually want to pursue it. And mentally, you got to have that mentality to do it. And after you did your training, what was the next thing that happened? Did you go out, look for matches, for promotions, or how was it to try to get booked for you? How did that go about?
So, interesting story about Johnny Rods. A lot of people have heard it. It's no secret to no one. When you sign on to be with Johnny Rods, he doesn't let you do independents. So I was there for about 3 years, almost 4 years. I was his heavyweight champion for 3 years down there. And he has his own promotion called World of Unpredictable Wrestling. And a lot of people would tell me, man, you got to leave Johnny's and you got to do the independents. You have to. And I was one of those good soldiers, like, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to listen to the Hall of Famer because he knows what he's doing. He went to the Hall of Fame. So how can he be telling me be wrong? So I would say right up to the pandemic, I was kind of getting the itch to do the independents. Mm-hmm. I had a couple talks with him and he kept telling me it wasn't worth it. But I had the itch. There was a lot of people reaching out to me to see if I would do certain shows and have matches and stuff for them. And I was very pulled back and hesitant. And right near the pandemic, we had a YouTube show called Flash.
Yeah.
And the Flash was great. Like Flash was I had a heavy hand in producing the Flash show and booking the Flash show. I was learning so much. So from a guy saying, oh, no, I don't have to do the independent scene, I was coping with a lot of stuff that was learning. I was under the learning tree. So there was a lot of things that I was gaining from being there. But right when the pandemic hit, everything stopped.
Yeah.
And it sucked to sit there and just watch people have wrestling shows, even though they were in front of nobody. But I wanted to have those matches, man. I wanted to stay fresh. I was getting a buzz about my name. And I was supposed to have a tryout with a particular company on March 26th. And March 16th is when the world shut down. So it really bothered me a lot. And then once everything started to open up, I reached back out about the tryout and it was just crickets. So really? I knew what I had to do. I knew I had to hit the independent scene and Johnny hated me for it. But I want to say almost a year ago, I hit the independent scene. It was the beginning of March where I was like, all right, I'm just going to go out, started sending my stuff out to a bunch of different companies. Upper Limit Wrestling was the first ones to be like, yeah, we've seen your work with Johnny's, so we're going to put you on automatically. Titan Championship Wrestling was holding a tryout. And a friend of mine from Invictus Pro Wrestling, because I was in talks with them and coming in, we just didn't know how to bring me in yet. Mm-hmm. And they told me to just head out to the tryout, try to get some extra bookings to get more experience, because the promoters really wanted to see me have more experience under my belt on the independent scene. So I went out to the Titan tryout and knocked that out the ballpark. They didn't expect me to show up. They didn't know who I was. You could tell it was a preconceived notion about who they were going to put on their YouTube show that night.
Right.
Because the standout was going to be on the show. And they didn't know who I was. They didn't know I was showing up. I showed up day of. I didn't even have my name on the docket yet. And I just walked in. Hey, is there a tryout? It was like, yeah, who are you? And I ended up being the camp tryout, the camp standout that day, and got put on their YouTube show. And man, after that, that's when all the companies started hitting me up, and I would hit up some other companies. And it was just, the thing about me that's different from a lot of other pro wrestlers, especially on the independent scene. There's a huge chunk of men and women on the independent scene that have a school behind them.
Right.
That have a trainer behind them that's helping them get bookings. Someone looking out for them and saying, hey, we got spots up here, some spots over here. And if you're known for a school or something like that of the nature, you'll get those spots. That's what separates me from everybody else. I had no backing. When you leave Johnny's washes his hands from you. Like, that's it. Like, he's not going to look out for you. He's not going to put your name out there.
Right.
You left his training regimen. So when I hit the indies, it was all on me to get bookings, to get matches, to put out my own promos. Sanctuary really helped me out. Going up into Sanctuary, that was right around the time I first started going up there. And a man by the name of John Trotsky, who became kind of like my second teacher. And it was more like a finishing school. And man, that man opened my eyes up on how to cut promos and just how to maneuver and how to become savage. So working with Trotsky was huge for me on making my name on the independent scene. It's crazy to think I haven't even hit a year yet, and I've been making a lot of noise on the independent scene completely by myself. So big kudos to myself,
Right. That is your matches are all over the place. And I've seen the stuff you put up on your YouTube channel, and I've seen the promos up on your Facebook, and I love your promos, man, because you get right to the point. And the latest promo I heard that you put up on your channel is talking about your upcoming event with I had it right here. You're going to be doing a show here on February 12th for Titan Championship Wrestling. You're going to be
tag match.
Yeah, the tag match, man. I watched that promo there. I love that. That's the one thing I love about what you do is with your promos, man. And how do you mentally put yourself in a situation when you're cutting a promo, because you want to make each promo stand out different from the last one? How do you mentally prepare yourself when you do your promos?
It's interesting because like right before I always studied promos because I love pro wrestling since I was a kid, and a couple of the guys that always stuck out to me was Nick Bockwinkel. Mm-hmm. That man could cut a promo in front of a mic, in front of a live audience like nobody's business. And he went on for too long to say he wrote that stuff, Ric Flair was another one during those NWA days, the Mid-Atlantic days with Dusty. That whole era, that was like promo driven. And you could tell they pushed sales, they pushed tickets. And that's what I loved. I loved the talker.
Yes.
And I studied a lot of those guys. So for me, the best promos was always the promos that came off real.
Yeah.
Where even like in the Attitude Era, where you had Brett and Sean cutting work shoot promos on each other, the whole world was sucked into those. People still are sucked into those promos. Mm-hmm. The whole Sunny Days thing. Like people love those promos. And for me, it's about 90% work and 10% shoot in most of my promos. And one thing about me, I was talking about it with a couple of the guys this weekend. I don't write my promos. I don't have no preconceived notion of what I'm going to say. I just know, all right, I got February 12th Titan Championship Wrestling. It's going to be PJ Savage and Ransom versus Ross and Bradley for the TCW Tag Team Championships. What are my real feelings regarding that? And one of my real feelings regarding that is there's a part of me that's a little bit salty that I'm in a tag team. I'm a singles guy. Mm-hmm. I want to go for Monster Mac. I want to be in that match. I want to fight Anthony Gangone. I want to be the heavyweight champion over at Titan Championship Wrestling. So I would feel that and put that into my promo. I am talking about the match, the tag team match. Maybe that makes me angry. Maybe that makes me frustrated that I'm not in that position. But look what I did when you made me a tag team wrestler. I won your tag team championships, the first ever. And now I use all that pent up emotion and I put that into a promo. Wherever it goes, it goes.
Yeah.
And it varies from different promotions and I try to make them stick differently. Like I have a feud with Sean Donovan going on. And it's over at SWF and Standalone Wrestling, the whole trifecta stuff. And Sean Donovan, somebody I look up to. He's somebody I have a lot of tremendous respect for. He's been around the business for a long time. And I want to make something out this feud. I want to put this on the map. I want this to be something that people remember. Somebody goes back to and is like, you remember at the beginning of 2022, Sean Donovan and PJ Savage had one hell of a feud and it could stick up versus the rest of them. And every promo that I'm gonna have even going forward now is gonna have more emotion behind it. It's gonna have a lot at stake because I want to build up that feud to where I want to build it up to. So every promo is completely different because it comes from my heart. I don't write anything down. I don't have no lines. Right. I don't have no one hitters. Everything is straight, real, and authentic.
Nice. I love it. I love it. I want to give a shout out to everyone listening over here on the chat, man. We got listeners. Shout out to Punisher. Shout out to Dina Joe with the Old Man's Podcast. Thank you all for jumping in here and listening tonight with my guest, PJ Savage, right here on Podbeam Live on the Everett Lee Show. I mentioned that I watched some of your matches. I did. I pulled up 3 matches on your YouTube channel. I pulled up 3 matches that caught my eye. One of the matches, I'll start off right out the bat there. Bobby Lashley. You were in a tag match against Bobby Lashley because when I'm looking at the thumbnail for it right here on your YouTube channel. It said Bobby Lashley versus PJ Savage. When I clicked on there and I started watching it, oh man, this is a tag match. That match was insane, man. Insane. I couldn't hear who the other partners were. Who was your tag team partner in that match?
At the time, so the story behind that match, it was supposed to be a singles match.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into it, I was very green at that point. I was 7 months into the business during that match. So I guess they just wanted to put some guys in there that were more seasoned, that just in case I shit the bed. And so it got turned into a tag match with I think it was the Phantom and Little Al. And that was like Bobby Lashley's partner, but a lot of it centered around me and Bobby Lashley because that was the match that was supposed to be going into.
Right.
And man, that was one hell of a experience for me.
Oh, it was, especially towards the end when you took that damn spear outside and right into the damn barricade. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
I was like, did he kill him?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like 2 inches away from the stairs, hitting the back of my head.
Oh,
if you go back and watch, there's other angles that you can see. I'll post them up on my Instagram so people could see it. But yeah, man, that was a whole crazy experience. Just being in there with somebody. I remember CM Punk said when he faced Eddie Guerrero when he got fired,
mm-hmm.
and Eddie Guerrero was on the independent scene, and CM Punk always said he wanted to see if he could hang. He got the chance to face Eddie Guerrero, and it was like, put up a shut up time. Can I really do this?
Right.
And that was what that was for me with Lashley. It was like, all right, I got this one in a lifetime opportunity. I already knew he was going back to WWE. It wasn't a secret at that time.
Mm-hmm.
He just got off the Impact contract. He was doing, I think, 4 or 5 shows. That was his last show before he headed to WWE. And I was like, this is one hell of an opportunity. I can't, I have to take this and make it for what it is and give it my all. And man, it was put up time for me. And after that match, man, Lashley had said a lot of encouraging things to me, and just it gave me that validation of I can do this. I can hang with the best of them. He's going back to that big stage. I'm here. I got to work to get there, but I know I can hang.
Right. What did you ask him, and what did he talk to you about, if you don't mind me asking? Did he give you some what advice that really did stick out that you're using today as a pro wrestler?
Using your real feelings. So there was, like I do in my promos, but there was this moment in the match where I hit I call it the blackout knee. And I hit that in the match to the Al guy, the little guy. Bobby Lashley was on the corner. But again, I'm 7 months in. I'm kind of immature a little bit in my mind. I'm upset that it's a tag match. I wanted it to be a singles match. So everything I did in that match, I would do it to the other guy and look at Bobby Lashley the whole time.
Uh-huh.
I would grill him. I would stare at him, make him know, like, I'm going to make you feel my presence. Even when he was walking to the ring, I stood in the middle of the ring and I didn't let go of his eyes. Like, me and him locked eyes the whole time. Like, I made him feel my energy. I wanted him to feel me. And that was one of the things he told me in the back. He was like, your presence, that ring presence you had of making me feel you. that you need to do because the crowd feels that, the crowd anticipates that. Right. And after I hit my knee, I looked and dead at him, and he was on the other side of the ring, and I just held the knee there, and I just looked at Lashley, and when we came into the back, he was like, that was a moment that everybody's going to remember. It was like, oh, look what he did to him. He's saying he's going to do that to you, and it builds up that anticipation. So using your real emotion in a controlled, respectable way inside of the wrestling ring or even in promos, that's something I really took away from that Bobby Lashley match.
Amazing. I like it. I remember that spot there. I felt I felt it just like everybody else. I felt I was right there with the crowd watching it, but that was great. I like that, how you hooked up in the ring there with Bobby Lashley. I mean, it was tag match. You wanted to be singles, but it's still like the moment it still stuck out to me was taking that damn spear, because all I seen on the corner out of the back, if you watch it, here comes Lashley running, and right before I can blink, there you are getting speared. It's just like
right through a barricade, man. It was a good spot, man. It was really good. That guy's strong and he's fast.
Mm-hmm. He definitely is. I watched this match right here from Upper Limit Wrestling. What made this match really great to me, on top of it, of your work in the ring with your opponent here, was the commentary was just so great. It reminded me of old school commentary from back in the WWF days. Talking about Chris Taylor, your match against Chris Taylor.
Yeah.
That match right there, that was great, man, because they hated Chris Taylor. He came out there, he draw heat to him, man. As soon as you came out, they were loving you. They loved you. The crowd did. And they were wanting to see you just demolish this guy, because he took that spray and he sprayed it and stuff. And then the commentary on top of it saying, oh, he's just trying to clean your eyes out. And it made it so much special. What I loved about this match was with Chris Taylor's size and speed, it was against your power, because when you're in the ring, I've noticed watching these matches here and just watching you in general, you're powerhouse, man. You go in for power with power moves, because as soon as you get a hold of your opponent, that's it, because they're going to get power bombed or they're going to get full Nelson slammed. Yep. And I loved how that match went about and stuff. Can you tell me what went into that match there with Chris Taylor? Because both, I mean, when I'm watching it, I know who the face and the heel is.
Yeah, that match had a very interesting dynamic. It was Upper Limit's debut for Upper Limit Wrestling. It was their first show. Mm-hmm. And I remember the whole vibe was I was supposed to be the heel. And some of the things that's been happening with me on the independent scene is that I'm becoming, I don't want to say popular, but people are knowing me. Right. And people like me. People are drawing, they draw to me. They want to see what I can do. And I'm hard hitting. They like what I do in the ring. So I kind of get that baby face jeer, and then I have to turn on them. Mm-hmm. So there's certain promotions that I'm working as a heel, and there's certain promotions I'm working at as a baby face. But that match actually turned out to, I walked through the curtain a heel, and it was like, no, this isn't going to work. The moment I stepped through a curtain, I got to pop. Like, we're going to have to change this on the fly. And Chris Taylor's he's a great guy, man. He knows how to change on the fly. He knows how to be the crazy, the guy who draws the heat. And it was gonna mostly be kind of like a heel versus heel thing where he did the same thing, but I was going to be too brutal with it. Right. Hence why at the end of the match, I put him in the sharpshooter, and I held it in and modified it and didn't want to let it go because it was about hurting him. But as the match goes on from the beginning, from getting sprayed in the eyes with the sanitizer, whatever you want to call it, and it was like it was getting good babyface reactions, and that match was great, man. It was a good combination of power versus speed, and it was just like, that's what you're gonna get with me in the ring, man. I'm hard hitting. Like, if you see me in real life, I'm a big dude. If I'm gonna fight you in real life, I'm gonna try to knock you out with one hit. I'm gonna try to take you out as quick as possible. And that's what I do in my wrestling style. That's just me. I'm going to hit you as hard as I can, as quick as I can. And if it takes you down, it takes you down. If you get back up, I'm going to do it again. So that's pretty much my whole style, man.
Yeah. That's what I like about your style. It is you're hard hitting. You wrestle and you move. You don't do nothing too crazy, because I've seen matches where the big guy gets in there and they do a move that's uncalled for, because I'm old school with the big guys should move a certain way.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be doing stuff a cruiserweight should be doing. Not unless there's a spot that calls for it. I understand that. But you're just pure power, man. And I love that running knee. The running knee and the full Nelson slam. That right there are my two favorite moves from you there. I just enjoy those two moves, because as soon as I see him getting the full Nelson, I'm like, that's it. It's over. We're taking it home. Yeah. Taking it home.
Good night. Good night. That's it. It's game over, man. It is. Man. I love both of those moves, man. The knee is very impactful. It's like a holy shit moment. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those where you get your cameras out, and then the full Nelson, no one expects it to be that impactful. So when I do it and I shoot the guy through the ceiling and bring him back down with all my force, it really gets everybody to wake up.
The other match I watched from you was from Invictus Pro Wrestling. Am I saying that right?
Invictus. Yeah.
Invictus Pro Wrestling. It was a match with you and help me God with this name here. It was the First Strike, PJ Savage versus Jay Bougie. All right. Thank you. I was trying to say it all weekend. I'm walking around the house going, Bougie, Jay Bougie. And I was like, I know I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to mess this up.
Oh, man.
But what I loved about this was the two promos, the story. This would have to be my favorite one out of those three matches I watched, because the story they had with it, because what was going into this. And as soon as the bell rang, you guys told an amazing story in the ring, because you wanted to kill each other. And there was that grudge, that rivalry there that you really told in this story there, especially when you guys got outside the ring there. My favorite spot was when he came running to you and you grabbed him and you power bombed him on the hardest part of the ring, fucking apron.
Yeah, power bomb straight onto the apron.
Yeah, he was great, man. It kind of reminded me back with Chris Taylor. Okay, he's gonna move with speed, try not to get next to you, try to get you down quick as he can with what he had. But then when you guys got in the middle there and you started scrapping, that was great, man. I mean, you just scrapping. You told a great story, and the finish was great. I mean, there you go. Full Nelson, slam 1, 2, 3. But
you go home after that.
Yeah. Yep. I know you're going home whenever that happens there. But tell me about that. With that match there.
There's a nice story there at Invictus between me and Jay Bougie. So a backstory about Jay Bougie is that he's also a Johnny guy. He's from Johnny Rods. Mm-hmm. We actually made the decision together, me, him, and two other guys, a tag team by the name of the Faceless Ones. And we all made the decision to collectively hit the independent scene and leave Johnny Rods together. We made a pat, and we called that pat the takeover pat. If we're going to leave, we're going to take over the independent scene.
Right.
So we would jokingly call ourselves Takeover. And one of the things about when I first hit the independent scene, a lot of people were trying to figure out how to get me onto their shows that made sense for them. And a lot of it ultimately ended up being, I'm going to be the powerhouse in this faction. Or I'm going to come in and be the meathead in this faction. It was always put PJ Savage in a faction. He's going to end up breaking off and becoming on his own, because we all know what he can do.
Right.
And at Invictus, they needed a spot for one of their groups called Sin. And in this group, it's the 7 Deadly Sins. They needed someone to be Wrath. Who else better to be Wrath than PJ Savage? I embody the word Wrath. Right. And so I ended up taking the opportunity, going over to Invictus and joining Sin. And it was a great run. I'm still with Sin currently. And Jay Bougie ended up getting into Invictus. And this is where the picture gets cloudy, because he gets into Invictus. And now it's like, aren't we TakeOver? Aren't we brothers? Like, aren't you with me? But why are you fighting me? And it kind of boiled out over into that match on the first strike where it was like, well, we need to let this come to a head. Mm-hmm. We all know what this is. Yeah, we are TakeOver. There's other promotions that I'm currently at. IWA, where TakeOver is completely formed. It's me, Jay Bougie, and the Faceless Ones. PCW, there's a SWF. There's a lot of promotions out here that TakeOver is currently at. And Invictus, I'm staying true to Sin. Mm-hmm. And it pisses Jay Bougie off. It's like, you need to just turn on them. You shouldn't even be with them. Why are you with them? You should be with us. And I'm like, no, well, this company gave me a chance. I'm going to stick to my guns. And I like it over here. I like it in Sin. You know? So that rubs him the wrong way. We had a great match at the first strike. We had a follow-up match, which was me and Dennis Morgan, my tag team partner in Sin. Mm-hmm. And versus the Faceless Ones, my two other brothers from TakeOver. We had another great match there, which it ultimately ended up in a no finish because no one can control us. We were just going outside the ring, diving, hitting each other with chairs and trash cans. It got ugly, and it got ugly quick. So this weekend is a very, very, very big show. It's basically the culmination of that whole feud is going to come to an end this Saturday at Invictus Pro Wrestling on their first show of the year called Winter's Wrath. Mm-hmm. And if you hear the play on the words, I am Wrath in Sin. And this is Winter's Wrath. So it's going to be Sin versus TakeOver in an unsanctioned match. If you're not going to be able to make it, go watch that on IWTV. But I promise you, you have to be there at Richfield Park, Knights of Columbus. We're going to steal the show and probably have match of the year. I guarantee you. It's unsanctioned. You can't tell me I can't do anything. No one wants to sanction this match. It's going to be Jay Bougie and the Faceless Ones versus me, J.S. Hawthorne, and Dennis Morgan. This is going to be something that is, if there's anything on the independent scene that you call can't miss, this is the match. It's definitely this match for Invictus Pro Wrestling.
Nice. I love it, man. I definitely love it. And of course, I was mentioned earlier about Titan Championship Wrestling.
Yes, sir.
David C. Russell tells me you got to check out Titan. You got to check out Titan Championship Wrestling. Man, you know how much wrestling I've been watching and trying to keep up with. It's hard, man. This past weekend, I basically had to be put in rehab from all the wrestling I watched this past weekend on IWTV. Did you catch that Action, the Southeast First? Did you catch
man.
That was, oh God, AC Mack, man. He won that championship about damn time.
Came out of nowhere. It was good, man. It was good. It was good stuff. Him and Shelly tore the house down, man.
Yeah, they did. They tore it. That place was packed. And that's just right up north from me because I'm in Daytona. That's up in Georgia. That's probably about a 7-8 hour drive. I'm gonna have to go up there. I'm definitely gonna have to go up there.
Yeah,
Action.
Definitely.
I mean, if it's that damn close, I need to get up there. But yeah, there's a lot. I'm on the Titan Championship Wrestling Facebook page right here, TCW page, and I just passed it. I see that Rosemary is going to be doing a seminar, which I think that's amazing. It's pretty dope.
Titan has a big show on February 12th. It's Monster Mac's 25th anniversary show. Monster Mac is a legend out here. He's been doing it all. He's actually facing Jay Bougie in the main event at that show.
Nice.
That show is completely stacked up, man. It's completely stacked up, especially with the newcomer like Jay Bougie trying to make a name for himself versus Monster Mac on his 25th anniversary. Who knows who's going to be there? Everybody from Monster Mac's past is going to show up, and that man has tangled up with everyone. And you got me and Ransom representing the front line, defending the belts for the first time, man. And I won the belt with a broken nose.
Did you?
So I broke my nose in that match. It was me and Ransom, the front line, versus the Faceless Ones, and Jacob and Face versus the Hale Collins and Vic Delicious.
Right.
And Vic caught me square on the nose, man, broke my nose. And I was leaking. All over the place. It was, and I had to laugh because it was the first belt I won on the independent scene. And I just remember just being on my knees, blood dripping all over the place. My white wrist tape was red. And they handed me the belt, and I just looked at my partner Ransom. I said, I would win the belt like this. I would. And the crowd loved it, man. They ate it up, man. Titan's a special place, man. They got a lot of great workers down there. And Anthony Gangone, Monster Mac. They got so many people down there willing to give it their all for that place. And yeah, it's a special place down there, man.
Nice. I love that. David C. Russell, I want to give him a shout out right now. First off, in the chat there, Punisher says he misses Tommy Wrestling, and thank you for liking the show. And David C. Russell wants to know about the Frontline Guy Deathmatch Russell, a Frontline guy or just pure savage? I don't know what he means by that.
Oh man, I don't know either. But we definitely got to get Ransom on his show just so Ransom can talk to him. Ransom's a man of few words. He kind of looks like Brody King. He has a great look to him. So we definitely got to get Ransom on the Deathmatch Russell podcast and see what happens there. Oh
yeah, we definitely do. Yeah, talking about Brody King. Brody King, he's on that list right here. I have of.
Oh, that's all. I'm in good company. If I'm on a list for Brody King, I'm in great company, man. I tell you that much.
Yeah, this list, man, I got Brody King on here for this list I have right here. Everyone that's listening, I mentioned to PJ Savage, there's a list here. If you listen at the top of the program for 2022, I got 6 guests I want to at least get on sometime during 2022. PJ Savage is one that you're listening to right here tonight. Brody King, he's another. AC Mack, that's another. Adam Priest, and Ravishing Randy Myers from Defy Wrestling out in Seattle. I want to get him on. My wife loves him. And Danny Jordan from Southern Honor Wrestling. That's the list right there of people I want to try to get on for 2022 this year. You know, just sometime during 2022, try to get them on, throughout the year.
Defy Wrestling is on my biggest bucket list of wanting to wrestle. Definitely. It reminds me of Sanctuary a lot in just the aesthetic of how it looks and how it's produced. Mm-hmm. But I want to wrestle up and Defy Wrestling more than anything right now. So that's interesting that you say Defy Wrestling because I'm such a big, that's a place I got to get to.
You know how I discovered Defy Wrestling? Pluto TV. I was seriously. Yeah, I know that's Pluto. Pluto TV. It's that
definitely
app.
Do.
I spent a lot of time on there just pulling up different things. They got a lot of content on there that you can watch. They got an on-demand section, which is great with programs that you can catch. I was looking at the Pro Wrestling channel. They have an Impact channel on there, 24/7 Impact. Some days they show just all the Asylum years from Impact, which is great, but they added a Pro Wrestling channel. And on the Pro Wrestling channel, they show a lot of PCW, which I love out there, Pacific Coast Wrestling, and Defy. That's how I've discovered. I was watching a match with Brody King, and I can't remember who he was wrestling off the top of my head. Sorry, brain fart. But I was watching this Defy Wrestling, and production-wise, this looks like ROH type shit. And I started looking more into it. They started showing a lot of Defy Wrestling on there, on that channel. So when I dropped WWE Network last year, when they moved to Peacock, because they took out they censored all their content on Peacock, I'm like, I'm dropping them. I'm done with them. I watched my last WrestleMania I watched was when Undertaker retired, and that was it, because I was a big Undertaker fan. 30 years. Yeah. He left. I left WWE. So I was like, okay, how am I going to get my wrestling fix? Because I only started watching pay-per-views. I quit watching Raw and SmackDown. I watched pay-per-views to get caught up on the recaps on the matches. But what am I going to do? A friend of mine said, check out IWTV. I said, what's IWTV? He said, independent wrestling television. They got a lot of promotions on there. As soon as I got in there and looked, I saw Defy Wrestling. I said, take my money. I'm signing up.
Yeah. There you go, man. Yeah, there you go.
And it's been great, man. Watching all the events and stuff on there. Defy is one of those promotions. They get a lot of big people on there. I would love to see you in Defy Wrestling. I would love to see you go up against. Oh man, I would like to see you go up against Brody King.
I would love like that. One match in particular that I would say it's a dream match for me at Defy Wrestling. I want to face Isaiah Swerve Scott in Defy. That's a huge match for me. He made a name for himself up at Defy, and man, him at Defy just has a whole different aura to him. And I would love to get a taste of that, just being in the ring with him for Matt Farmer and Defy up there, man. Swerve. I want to beat the hell out of Swerve.
Swerve. And what about Artemis?
Yeah, man. All of them. There's another guy up there. I can't get his name off the top of my head right now. There's so many talented guys up there at Defy, the whole wrestling program and the whole Matt Farmer is doing something really special up there, man.
Mm-hmm. They definitely are. They definitely are doing something really, really good and special up there. One of the things that I wanted to mention is that with us talking about the February 12th show with TCW, the promo. I want to play this promo here for the listeners. You're the one that you put out about 5 days ago, and then I want to get your thoughts on it and any more on this promo here because
So this promo is it's not for the 12th show. It was actually for the show that we won the belts on. I just put it up late.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I put up my promos late on YouTube because everybody checks out my Instagram first. But that promo was for the January 8th event.
Okay.
Over at Titan Championship Wrestling.
Okay. All right. Whoopsie. Sorry about that. Hey, no. It's live. You can mess up, man. I know everyone's messed up on a live show sometimes. Okay. I understand totally because when you get time to put your stuff up to update your YouTube, you get on there and you update it.
Yeah, man. It's tough. Like I told you, I'm the only one doing all my work, man. I don't got nobody doing this for me, so it's all for me, man.
Yeah, you don't got a social media manager there.
No, once the name gets bigger and the money gets bigger, man, I'm definitely going to have to invest in one for sure.
Yeah. Hire who wants to be PJ Savage's social media manager, man? You know, once he gets up there, he puts out the ad. Look for it, okay, guys. Look for it because he's gonna be calling for someone.
There's actually a promo that dropped. I want to say 40 minutes ago. Go check it out. There's a new wrestling company up here in New York, called Project Codename Wrestling. They're gonna go by PCW on the East Coast.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting talent up there. Guys by the name of TJ Marconi, Public Enemy #1, Mantis, Julius Smokes from Major League Wrestling is there. Sebastian Cage, Jay Bougie, myself, and Takeover is there. But the Takeover was just announced for Project Codename Wrestling today, and a promo was dropped. That's a cool promo. Go check that out. It was dropped like 40 minutes ago. I'll share it on my Facebook page for you guys to go check it out. But go definitely check that out, man.
Excellent. Now, right before we start wrapping it up here, what do you want to say right here on the program to your opponents on your upcoming match, Ross and Bradley? What do you want to say? What do you want to say, man? Because you're the champ. What's champ have to say, man? What do you have to say?
Man, Ross and Bradley, they're going to be in for one hell of a fight, man. Me breaking my nose the last time I was at Titan Championship Wrestling just pissed me off even more. I'm coming in with one of the worst attitudes I've ever came into Titan Championship Wrestling with. I'm just not happy. I'm not a happy camper right now. Yeah, I got the belt. And you know, it's funny, the heavyweight champion, Johnny Moran, I walked through the curtain because we had cut a promo with David Adams. It's up on the Titan page, and it was right after we won the belts. And I was angry. I was just legitimately angry. And I walked back to the curtain, and Johnny Moran goes, "For a guy who just won a belt, you're not that happy." I was like, because the mission's not done yet, Moran. I want yours too. And so Ross and Bradley is going to come into a guy, especially with, I can't speak for Ransom, even though I know Ransom's going to show up and try to whip some ass. But I can speak for myself. And Ross and Bradley is going to be in for one hell of a fight, because I'm coming to Titan Championship Wrestling on the 12th to show everybody why I was the first, why they put that moniker on me, why that title is home with me right now, why we're the tag team champions there. And they're going to have a very, very tough time that night. And they're not going home with the belts. I promise you that right now.
Nice. Thank you so much. Punisher in the chat says, good luck with your match. And thank you for liking the show. And thank you, everyone that's tuned in tonight here on Podbeam Live, that's tuned in and like the show. Thank you so much. Right before we take it home, PJ, where can people find you on social media, and what else can we look for 2022 with PJ Savage?
Man, yeah, on social media is at PJ Savage _ on everything, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. YouTube, it's PJ Savage. Go look me up there. Shout out to Deoshi Patterson. He created me a website, pjsavage.net. Everything PJ Savage is there. Upcoming matches, promos, 8x10s. I got a bunch of new 8x10s coming out. I have a giveaway going away currently right now on my Instagram page. Whoever likes, comments, and shares the most stuff from my page wins a free 8x10. It ends in 2 days. Yeah, I got some new t-shirt designs dropping. We got Titan Championship Wrestling. We got Invictus this Saturday. There's so much stuff going on right now. I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in right now. But when it comes to the year 2022, I'm going to take over. Like this, I'm going to become one of those household names on the independent scene. You know AJ Gray, you know Matt Tremont, you know all these guys, Jordan Oliver, you know all these guys as mainstay independent guys, Casey Navarro's, all of them. You all know their names. You all know where they're from. That's going to be PJ Savage times 10. I'm telling you, this year I'm going to leave my mark on this business. This is going to be a heavy one.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you so much, PJ Savage. And right there at the top of the About section for this podcast, all the links for PJ Savage's social media is up there. Also, his Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even merchandise, Pro Wrestling Tees. PJ Savage has Pro Wrestling Tees. Go over there, check out the selection of shirts and stuff that he has. Also, I want to mention right before we close out, you can listen to the Everett Lee Show audio podcast right here on Podbeam, over on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. You can listen to the audio portions of that podcast. Everett Lee on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, Everett Lee Show, and Twitter at the Everett _ Lee. And of course, Podcast City Network, your top source for independent podcasting. Be creative, be yourself. Head over to podcastcity.net. Check out shows such as the Everett Lee Show, Deathmatch Wrestle Podcast, sports podcast show, Final Score, pop culture shows such as Verbal Shenanigans, The Imaginary with Scott and Todd, and many, many more other shows over at podcastcity.net, Facebook, Podcast City Network, over on Twitter at Podcast City Net. And one thing I want to do is I want to plug my friend's book I have right here. You've heard a lot of wrestling themes throughout the 80s, but Jimmy Hart was responsible for most of the music, along with his partner, JJ Maguire, Hurricane JJ Maguire, the true master of wrestling ring music. JJ Maguire has a book out called My Life in Heaventown by JJ Maguire and John Cosper. You can find the book over on Amazon.com. And if you want a signed copy by JJ Maguire himself, head over to eatsleepwrestle.com for a signed copy of My Life in Heaventown by JJ Maguire and John Cosper. And that's it. Have a good night, everyone, and thank you for listening to the Everett Lee Show.